Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss movies. Today I'm here to let you know everything that I watched in the month of March.
It's coffee time!
Now, the month of March was a little bit weird because I was sick for like a week and a half and I did binge a lot of stuff that normally I would not watch or choose to watch, and a lot of things that I rewatched because those are things that I've seen so many times that if I fall asleep, it's perfectly fine. Also, since March, I have an unlimited ticket for the cinemas here. What that means is I have a membership and I can go to as many movies as I want, as many times as I want, every month, and I just pay like a membership fee per month, which it is fairly cheap if you just like compare your membership with what you pay per ticket. So my membership is 21 euros per month and each movie ticket is 11 euros per month. So even if I just go to 2 movies every month, it already compensates. So currently at the moment I'm basically watching a lot of stuff in the cinema, a lot of new releases, so you could say that I'm living my best life. Now, I have not been uploading too many single movie reviews because, you know, there's been a lot going on in my life. I've been sick and all of that, but I'm planning on doing more individual movie reviews, especially of new releases, since now I have access to any new release here and I can go anytime I want. So if you would like to see movie reviews in general, not just horror ones, let me know down below because I can definitely do that, or just, you know, pick and choose the movies that I thought are worthy of getting a review, you know, one way or another. So yeah, but without further ado, let's talk about everything that I watched in March. As always, I'm gonna go through my Letterboxd account. So if you want to follow me on Letterboxd to know what I have been watching as I'm watching it, the link is down below. And let me know if you have an account so I can follow you back. I'm always interested to see what other people are currently watching, and also sometimes you just come up with movies that you forgot about or that you had in your watch list, and you know, it's always nice to see what other people are watching. So let's go to my diary and let's scroll down all the way to the 1st of March. So the first thing that I watched was No Exit. These came out in Hulu, but I also had access to it through Disney Plus. This is a mystery thriller that is based on a book by Taylor Adams that I have previously read. I really enjoyed the book. It was one of my favorite mystery thrillers that I have ever read because I just felt like it had really interesting twists and turns to the story, and it had a really nice winter setting. So I was really excited about the film to see if they managed to bring all of the nice things from the book to the screen. And the movie is definitely worth your time, I can tell you that. I absolutely loved the way that they set up everything. I really love the actors in the movie. I felt like it did include a lot of interesting, nice twists and turns. Is the movie believable though? Not really. There's a couple of things in the film that make it a little bit less believable, but nevertheless, I think this is a really good thriller. It does have some nice bloody moments, and I definitely recommend you guys if you like some mystery thrillers with a little bit of horror. Now moving on to the 2nd of March, where I binged Hawkeye. Now when this show was announced, I was excited because I felt like Hawkeye as a character deserved more of a character arc. I wanted to know more about his background. Unfortunately, the show is not giving you that. It is mostly set up to introduce a new character, and I think that's where I was a little bit more disappointed. It was also a lot of comedy, kind of more like a goofy thing, kind of more for kids than I was expecting, so it did not meet my expectations. I still feel like Loki and WandaVision has been the best spin-off TV shows that they've done so far, so I was a little bit disappointed. Next, I finally watched The Last Duel, which was a movie that I had on my watch list for a long time, and I finally was able to watch it through Disney Plus. Disney Plus is really coming through with new releases lately. And honestly, I felt like this is absolutely stunning. I cannot recommend this enough for you guys. It is very slow paced and it is very long, and it's basically telling a story from 3 different characters' perspective. So first you get to know the story from one of the characters' perspective, then we change to the next one, and then to the next one. So basically you're being told the same story 3 times. And I just thought it was so genius the way that they did it, because it never was boring, and the acting is just outstanding in this film. Matt Damon in this film is fantastic. Yeah, so definitely recommend you guys this one if you have not checked it out yet. Then I watched The Weekend Away, which it is a Netflix exclusive, a thriller, and I'm seeing a pattern here in the last months. At least maybe the last year, Netflix has been putting out a lot of mystery thrillers, and honestly none of them have been really exciting to me. This one felt very recycled kind of mystery thriller. I was a little bit upset about it at some point. The plot is fairly simple. It's just 2 girlfriends that go for a weekend getaway, and they go out party all night, and after the party night one of the girls is missing, and we follow kind of the investigation, try to figure out what happened to her, where she went, where she is. And it just felt like, you know, one of those direct-to-TV thrillers, which is probably what it is because, you know, it's on Netflix. But I think you can skip this one. Then I watched The Batman. I was really extremely excited about this film. It is, I think, a 3-hour movie, or nearly 3-hour movie, so I was ready to take it all in that day. And it has been one of my favorite Batmans because of the way that they have portrayed Bruce Wayne, and the way you really get to connect with him and get to know him, and the way we see his backstory through the things that he says and he does. I was absolutely in love with the cinematography of this film, the way that they utilize the bat part of, you know, Batman. Especially there's a scene where he's kind of flying. I just felt like this was a Batman movie, you know what I mean? And it had all of the darkness and all of the grief that belongs to a Batman movie. It is also nearly 100% shot in the dark. There is, I think, a couple of scenes during a funeral that are a little bit in daylight, but mostly it's all shot at night, which is exactly the vibe that you need for a Batman film. And this one really focuses on the detective part of things and how Batman actually helps to solve crimes, kind of as if he was another detective. He assists detectives. And I just loved it. I really loved this film. But, you know, keep in mind, it's really like a slow-paced film, especially at the beginning. And it's really long. But if you love Batman, the essence of what Batman really is, I feel like you're really going to enjoy this film. Next, we have one of my absolute favorite movies that I have watched so far in 2022, and a movie that I just keep thinking about, and that is Fresh. I just turned on my Disney Plus one day and I saw this movie pop up, and I had already been hearing about it, so I immediately watched it, and I was not ready for it. I do have a spoiler-free review of this if you want to hear a little bit more my thoughts on it. But when the movie starts and you have these kind of romantic meet cute moment, and you know that something's gonna happen at some point, but when the twist comes at minute 40 before the opening credits roll, I was not ready for that. I was expecting a twist, I was just not ready for that one. And the monologue in that minute is just fantastic. I mean, if you love horror movies and thrillers that are really intense and include some horror, this is definitely for you. I feel like this is definitely a movie that if you can take a little bit of body horror, you should definitely watch. There's not much of it. I think it's more implied than shown. But yeah, like I said, one of my absolute faves of 2022. Then I watched 13 Cameras. So this is a film about a creepy guy that has cameras installed in a house that he rents to people. That's basically the gist of it. I was really intrigued about this one, and I have to say I enjoyed it, but it didn't offer really anything new to the table, but I still feel like it's worth a watch. There is a part 2 called 14 Cameras that I still have not seen, but I'm definitely gonna give it a shot as well. I did find this one on Amazon Prime here, so if you're looking for it, maybe check there. Moving on to the 9th of March, I watched The Shadow in My Eye, which is a movie that was released on Netflix about Denmark during World War II against the Nazis. And I'm always intrigued about World War II movies. I think it's because my parents always loved it a lot, the theme, and I've grown up, you know, seeing my parents watching those films. And I really enjoyed this one because it was told from the perspective not of, you know, more kind of the militaries and the Nazis. It was kind of told from the perspective of the regular people that were living in Denmark when the bombings started. And I felt like they tried to tell the story from also different perspectives, so nothing is really black or white. And I like when also characters are morally gray and characters change throughout a film like this, because when you're going through something like what happened in World War II, you can't expect things not to be black and white. Then I watched The Adam Project that also came out on Netflix. What I can tell you about this film is it's just a one-time have fun kind of movie. It's nothing like extremely good. It's just a movie that you watch just to have a good time. So in that regard, you know, I enjoyed it, but it was not, I guess, what I expected. It is a movie about time travel, and our main character needs to travel back and forth, you know, to the future and the past in order to protect Earth, protect the safety of humans. And there were a lot of cool moments in the film. There was a lot of jokes because obviously Ryan Reynolds is playing Ryan Reynolds here. That's how best I can describe this. It was not as funny as I expected. It was again one that I think it's more of a family movie, and I was kind of expecting a more serious tone, I guess. But for a one-time watch, it's fun, especially if you love movies that involve time travel. Then we went to the movies one day and we decided to watch 3 movies in a row because sometimes we want to be those crazy people. So we first went to watch Blacklight. Now this is a movie I would have never ever chosen to see in my life. And this is probably one of the worst things that I have watched the month of March. But my partner really likes Liam Neeson, so I was like, you know what, I'll go for you, I'll sacrifice for you. This is what you do for your partner. And the moment the movie started, I was already done with it. This was extremely predictable. The script was absolutely horrible. Like the way that they delivered the lines, you know, with this like dramatic pause and like your typical lines that you've heard like 300,000 times. I was just cringing so much on the inside. So needless to say, you can skip this one at least. You don't need to go to the movies for it. Since we have our unlimited tickets membership, we can watch all the movies we want without having to pay extra or anything. So it is okay for us to just go and watch it for free, I guess, with our membership. But definitely wait until, you know, you can see it for free somewhere if you really want to. Then we went to watch The 355. This movie is about basically a group of really strong females that all end up kind of in the same mission to recover an artifact that can lead to the destruction of humankind. I didn't expect this movie to be also anything amazing. I just went into the movie expecting a fun action film, and that is what you get. I felt like maybe the movie was a little bit too long for its own good, but I do understand they have a lot of different characters and they wanted to give us some background on their lives and, you know, really get time to explore the character a little bit so that the viewers would care about them, because in this film it's important for the viewers to be connected to our main female characters. Now, I would definitely recommend you to give this one a watch if you love especially like action movies. It is action packed and there's a lot of cool like stunt moments. But apart from that, there is nothing really fresh or new brought to the table. And we finished our 3-movie day with Uncharted. I went to this movie without any expectations because I was already pissed that they chose Tom Holland for our main character, Nate. Honestly, I just don't see him as a character. I feel like they just chose an actor that is well known at the moment, that it's hot, and that they thought would bring a lot of people to the cinema, that maybe would connect to younger audiences, and I don't think it was a right choice. I also don't like Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I have been playing the games now. I finished 1 and 2, and honestly I don't see Mark Wahlberg as Sully at all. Yeah, the movie, this one I would say, you know, it's a fun time, I guess, for one watch if you just want to see some action and some kind of adventure. But it was definitely not up to my expectations. There's going to be a sequel. Not really excited about it. Will I watch it? Probably yes. But I just feel like there was a problem here in this film, especially when it comes to the cast. I just don't think it works. But yeah, this is what we got, so we just have to roll with it. And then, you guys, I went to the pre-premiere of X. As you guys know, this also has been one of my favorite things that I've watched in 2022. March was a good month because I watched 2 of my favorite horror releases of 2022 so far, which is Fresh and X. I went to see this one alone because my boyfriend was already sick, and then I got sick. But at least I made it to the like pre-premiere of the movie and I could watch it ahead of time. And I think the fact that I went alone and there were not many people in the room when I went, I think it made the experience different for me. I love this movie. I also have a spoiler-free review of this film that you can check out on my channel, and this was just the perfect throwback to 70s slasher movies. Yes, it does have some tropes, but this is such an interesting concept. It brings out themes like growing old. It also is an ode to filmmaking and the love for filmmaking. And the cinematography is absolutely stunning. The editing is amazing. And the fact that Ty West did everything, like he is a director, writer, editor, is like chill. Chill, but it is so good. And we are getting a prequel, which is super exciting. It's still supposed to come out in 2022 as well. And it's gonna be called Pearl. I went to see this movie twice, and neither time did I get the end credit scene. I stayed to the very end of the credits both times. We did not get the end scene, and it is really frustrating and annoying because why some countries get this scene and others don't, I don't know. They're supposed to be promoting the prequel that is supposed to come, so the fact that they are not showing this end scene, it doesn't make sense to me. Then I was sick and I decided to just watch things that were a little bit more low-key entertaining. So I watched Turning Red on Disney Plus, and I was really surprised that this movie didn't even make it to the cinema. It didn't have a cinema release. It went straight to Disney Plus. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really entertaining. It's about this girl that in her family there is this curse where you turn into these red kind of panda when you are under a lot of stress or upset, and she has to deal with it and try to break the curse. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Maybe it was a little bit too long. For me, I would have edited down a little bit, but it is fun. So if you want to watch it, it's on Disney Plus. Then I watched The Fallout. And this movie, I watched it on HBO Max because now we have HBO Max here in the Netherlands. So of course I got a membership. And this movie was a really interesting drama related to school shootings. Well acted, really extremely slow pace, so keep that in mind. And it is heavy on the drama and the grief, so I feel like only if you really like those kind of things you're gonna enjoy it. And then I was on the phase where I was extremely sick and basically just napping all day, so I decided to start my rewatch of the Harry Potter movies because Fantastic Beasts 3 is coming out next week here in the Netherlands and I want to go watch it. So I rewatched Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I made it to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So those are the ones that I watched when I was on my sickest days. And then I watched Deep Water, which just came out. I think I watched it on Amazon Prime. This is a new mystery thriller with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, and I didn't like it, so I'm just gonna say it. I thought this was not good. I know some people really enjoyed it. It's almost sold as an erotic mystery thriller, but it was not as R-rated as I was expecting when it comes to violence and sex scenes and stuff like that. I just felt like this movie was way too long for its own good, and I felt like the two main characters, which we are supposed to feel connected to, I had absolute no connection to them. I didn't care for them. I was bored. Yeah, so unfortunately this one really didn't work for me. Then I watched Phoenix Rising on HBO Max. It's a two-part documentary in which we follow Evan Rachel Wood, the actress that came forward to confess that she had been abused by Marilyn Manson. And yeah, it was really intense, really interesting, and really disturbing all at the same time. Honestly, if you're interested in this type of things, this type of documentaries, Marilyn Manson, whatever, if you want to know a little bit more about that scandal, definitely give it a shot. It is only told from her perspective. There is no interviews or information from the other side, so it is a little bit one-sided. Keep that in mind. But I think it was really well put together, really well structured, and it was a interesting documentary for me to watch. And then I went back to the movies to have a double horror feature. So that day I rewatched X. Loved it a lot. There's a lot of things that I saw from another perspective the second time around. And it's great now that with my unlimited ticket I can go to rewatch a horror movie if I really love it and not have to spend the extra money. And the second movie I watched that day was Initiation. For some reason in Letterboxd it says it's a movie from 2020, but it was just released here in the Netherlands right now. So for me it was a new movie. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. Didn't like it at all. Like in the first 10 minutes I already knew I had made a mistake. And I wanted to leave that room, but I always stick and I always finish, because I feel like if I'm gonna talk about a movie, if I'm gonna review it, if I'm gonna rate it, I have to watch the whole thing. I think it's only fair. So definitely skip it. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. I mean, I would not rewatch this ever again. And I feel sorry, you know, to be so harsh about it, but like nothing worked for me. The acting was a little bit over the top. The script was not good. No, just skip it. Then I watched the Unholy, another movie that had a lot of potential. I have been meaning to watch this one since it came out. Also, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so I was like, I gotta give it a shot. But unfortunately, it was not as good as it could have been. My biggest issue with this one was the lack of like story arc. I felt like it started quite strong. I was really interested about it. We are introduced to this film seeing as somebody is being burned alive, and then we are sent to a small town where a mute girl starts talking again, and she sees the Virgin Mary and starts to perform miracles, and it's all kind of my vibe, you know, like this kind of like horror and the church and all of those things and burning witches. So I was really excited at the beginning, but then it just deflated for me really quickly. I feel like the concept was good, like the idea they had for this film, the premise was good, but also there are some CGI moments and some moments where you get to see some of the evil spirits, I would say, that are too much on your face from the very beginning. So when you start seeing the things that are supposed to be unsettling and that are supposed to be more subtle and you put the horror already all out there, then you're basically showing all your cards from the very beginning, and that kills automatically all the tension, all the build up. So that's also something that really bothered me with this one. Then I watched the documentary Why Did You Kill Me on Netflix. It was fine. It's a story about this girl that was shot one day by a group of like gang members in a neighborhood, and the police was unable to identify and arrest the killer. So some family members of the victim created a account at MySpace, and they tried to lure in members from this gang to try to figure out who killed her. That's basically what it's about. It's interesting if you are a lover of true crime, but also nothing extremely amazing here. It's just a regular true crime documentary. And then we went to the movies again and watched 2 movies that day. We watched Moonfall, which honestly I had already lowered my expectations when I went to see the film, so I feel like that helped. The movie is just a fun time. That is what it is. It is a movie that does not make sense. And I'm not talking just about the science part of it. There's a lot of things that take place on Earth, nothing in space or the moon, that are so unbelievable, that are so far from logics that were a little bit upsetting. I was like, oh, come on. Like, you know, it's like, it makes you feel like you're watching a movie and they're really pushing it for the cinematography of it all, for how good it's gonna look if this happens, but it doesn't make any sense. So I feel like if you love these kind of films that are just a fun watch, like Independence Day or movies like that, then you're gonna have a good time with it. But yeah, don't expect this movie to be scientifically accurate and logical. And after Moonfall we watched Ambulance. I was really excited because you guys know that I really like Jake Gyllenhaal, and this is a Michael Bay movie, so I was expecting a lot of action non-stop and things going boom in the air. This is another one where you can also expect things to happen that might not be logical, because this is a heist and chase movie. It's a very straightforward action movie. From the very beginning is action-packed. It is about these guys are trying to rob a bank, and in order to escape after they have been intercepted by the police, they steal an ambulance and they just run for it with the ambulance. And that's basically what the movie is about. It takes place mostly just it's a chase thing going on between the ambulance and the police all the time, so that's what you can expect from this film. I absolutely love Jake Gyllenhaal's character in this film. It is a character that you're not supposed to sympathize with, but I couldn't stop myself from rooting for him, which is really weird. I just love the way he delivered his lines. I loved the way he created this character. I just absolutely loved him in this role. And the last movie that I watched is a Netflix release, another mystery thriller called Shattered. Here it's called Crash, so I guess depends in the country you live in, it might have a name or the other. This one, just skip it. I feel like most of the new mystery thrillers that have been released on Netflix, you can just let them go because they were nothing special. This one is another mystery thriller that I have seen 100 times before. It is a meet cute moment between a guy and a girl that meet at a supermarket, and they start to see each other, but one of them has a secret, and yeah, it's a dark secret. It's all I'm gonna tell you, even though it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of predictable, so not much I can tell you about. I feel like from the last mystery thrillers that I have been watching, one of my favorite ones has been Till Death. So if you're looking for a good mystery thriller, I would recommend you to check that one out. And now let's go and see the TV shows really quickly, because this video is getting too long. I watched too many things in March, so I'm just quickly gonna go through the TV shows that I watched in the month of March. So like I mentioned, I watched Hawkeye. Then I watched a true crime documentary on Netflix that I definitely recommend you guys to check out, which is called Worst Roommate Ever. It goes through, I think it's 3 different stories of people that had been living with roommates that were either killers or something else, like people with a really dark past. Absolutely loved this one. It was so interesting and it was so well put together to keep the tension. Definitely recommend you if you love true crime. Then I watched Pieces of Her, which is based on a book as well. And it has Toni Collette in it, and I was really excited. I started the show loving it, binging it, and then I lost all interest in it. All of a sudden, I felt like at some point the way that they were trying to intertwine the stories and giving you more information from the past and then the present, it just got a little bit too messy for me and I lost interest. Then I watched Inventing Anna. I had been hearing people talking about it, and honestly I just needed to know. I had this fear of missing out a little bit with this one. And I thought it was really interesting. I mean, it is a basic mystery thriller based on a true story of this girl that invented a lot of stuff, and by doing that was able to hang out with really rich people and stay at really expensive hotels, not paying anything. I enjoyed it. I feel like if you're interested in this story at all about this girl that made up her whole identity and was able to fool so many people for so long, definitely give it a shot. I enjoyed it. Then I rewatched Firefly with my partner because my partner had not seen Firefly before, and I you know, have been trying to make him watch it. He didn't love it much, so I feel like our relationship is a little bit in jeopardy right now. No, I mean, he liked it fine, but I was expecting him to fall in love with it like I did the first time that I watched it. It didn't happen, but you know, it's okay, it's okay. Then I watched Made for Love. I found this show on HBO Max, and it is about this woman that is living kind of in a bubble with her boyfriend, and they have been isolated from society for the past 10 years, and this guy is creating some sort of device that can be implemented in the brain in order to connect couples with each other and have the ultimate connection. That's why it's called Made for Love. And yeah, we follow this girl as she discovers the boyfriend's plans and she tries to escape getting this chip implanted in her brain. It stars Christine Milioti, which was also in Palm Springs, and I really liked her in Palm Springs, and her character here is a little bit similar, I have the feeling. And at least this TV show brought us something a little bit fresh, a little bit new, and I really enjoyed it. Then we finally got season 2 of Uploaded on Amazon Prime. I watched it, I really enjoyed it, but I have to say I loved the first season better. This is a show about a society in which when you die, like you're about to die, you can choose to upload yourself to this kind of virtual reality so that you can keep on kind of living even though you don't have a material body anymore. The first season was so fun, was so new and fresh, and the jokes were so much fun. And I feel like season 2, it was not as funny and as inventive as the first season was. I guess it's to be expected because now we are aware of this system and how it works to be uploaded and all of that, so all the fun parts have already been explored. It also, the second season ends up on a cliffhanger, so now I have to wait for season 3, so that was a little bit mean. Then I watched Euphoria finally, because I have now HBO Max. I've been meaning to check out this show for a long time. It is a very hyped up show, so I didn't know what to expect. I have to say I really enjoyed it. I binged season 1 and 2 while I was sick. And I think it does deserve a lot of praise for what it is trying to do and portray and the way that they're doing it. There are certain scenes that are set up in a way that there is a one-shot thing throughout a carnival or things like that. It is absolutely stunning. The visuals, you know, cinematography-wise, it is amazing. I really like the characters because they are all really flawed characters that have their own dark sides. It is a very intense show. There's a lot of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, a lot of sex, so just keep that in mind if you're gonna go into it. But I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in the next season. And last but not least, I watched Bridgerton season 2. Now, Bridgerton is one of those things that when it came out on Netflix, I binged the show like 2 or 3 times. Like, I was obsessed level. It's one of the few TV shows that is not a thriller or a horror that has hooked me like crazy. And I really had a lot of fun with season 1. I really love season 2 as well. I didn't love it as much as season 1, but I still binged it in like a day. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next. If you aren't familiar with the show, we are in the 1800s, so it's kind of like a period piece, but they are modernizing it in a lot of different levels, with the music, with a lot of different things. They're trying to keep it a little bit period accurate while modernizing it at the same time. So I feel like that's why a lot of people can really relate with the show, because a lot of people enjoy historical or period pieces. I enjoy it myself, to see, you know, all the costumes and the hairs and things about times where we were not alive. But at the same time, because this show has been modernized and it feels more up to date, it's also easier for the audience to connect with the characters and their stories, and in a lot of different levels. So I feel like that is why this show has been so successful. But yeah, it is nothing to do with horror or thrillers. Alright guys, this video was extremely long, so now I have to go and edit all of it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you thought of the things that I have watched. Let me know if you want me to do more individual movie reviews of brand new releases, since I have access to the cinema now to watch any movie that I want that just came out. So I don't know if you guys are interested in individual reviews of movies that are not horror. Let me know down below. I can definitely get to that. And thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support, and I hope to see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye!